We are in the beautiful single tree campground, and behind me you can maybe you can just make out the Henry Mountains. Beautiful here. We're in southern Utah, up in the mountains where it's nice and cool. So let's get started with our questions. Marty is asking, are you having any issues with cell signals, especially while boondocking up in the mountains? Well, yeah, that's probably one of my biggest issues that I am dealing with right now. I have a T-Mobile phone, and then I have a Verizon hotspot, and between the two, I can usually get some kind of signal. However, not always. And sometimes I can get just enough signal to text, which is good, obviously, to stay in communication, but I can't upload anything. I can't always get on social media. So yeah, it is a problem. Funny enough, though, when you mention the mountains can be 50-50 because you can be completely out of range of any signal. Also, you can be high enough up in the mountains, and if you have a good site to a cell phone tower, you can get an excellent cell phone signal. So it really is a toss-up, depending on where you are on the mountain and where you are in relation to the cell phone tower. There are options. Nomad Internet, I believe it's called. That's a possibility. So I will probably look into that, but right now I need to figure out what my actual needs are for internet and cell phone. And then I'll be able to pick out a better plan for myself. So yeah, it is a challenge. It's one of the reasons I'm late with Campfire Chat this time, because I couldn't find a good enough signal to get the video uploaded. So thank you, Marty, for that question. I appreciate it. Let's move on to Crystal. And she's asking, are people constantly asking to interact with your dogs, and how do you manage that? Yeah, they do, definitely. Usually when I'm walking Asta and Chaos around the campground, that's usually when it happens. My hard and fast rule is nobody pets Asta. She's not aggressive to strangers, but I do know that she is uncomfortable with a lot of attention on her from strangers. And really, this brings up a bigger point. If you have a dog that is uncomfortable with strangers, not necessarily aggressive, just uncomfortable, or an overactive hyper greeter, a dog that gets way excited meeting strangers, jumps all over them, I think the best policy is nobody pets the dog. I think it's more important that the dog is comfortable walking around strangers and not always constantly being worried or excited about getting pet. So for me, no one pets Asta so that she can stay comfortable walking around strangers and passing them on a trail when we hike, and not have to worry about the fact that they might reach out and pet her. Chaos, on the other hand, is very friendly, maybe too friendly. He's not a hyper greeter, but he does really like to say hi to people. I'm finding he really enjoys greeting children. He likes kids a lot. But my rule for Chaos is that people, if they can, have to crouch down a little lower and just extend the back of their hand and let him make the first move. And he always wants to be pet. And right now he's not hyper about it. He's not standoffish about it. So yeah, I'm cool with that. I think that's great for him. He enjoys it, and so why not? But yeah, great question, Crystal. Let's see. Alex is asking, how did you decide on a Class A instead of a B or C or fifth wheel or a travel trailer? Good question. My first RV was a C-Class, and I liked it a lot. It was only a half a foot smaller than what I have right now. My only thought was with two dogs, particularly with a dog that's very busy, like Asta, it was too small. I felt that it was too small. So I did move up to a Class A. The axis that I have, it's called a Thor axis. It's only a half a foot longer. Technically, it's still a Class C because it's built on a Class C chassis, but the reason I like it and the reason I chose it is because it has the Class A look on the front, and I like that. I like the extra space because that is actually extra living space. It doesn't have a dedicated kitchen table because it's so short, and neither did my other Class C. It had a designated kitchen table, a little dinette, but I always had it as a couch, so I never had a proper table. With this Axis, I actually, the driver's seat and the passenger seat turn to face each other, and then you can put a table between them, and that's your dining room table, which is fabulous because you have this huge window to look out while you're eating, which is really nice. So that's how I chose this Axis, and that's why I chose the Class A. Not specifically because it was an A or a C, but more because it had the table that I wanted and a couch in it, versus the older Class C that I had, which had one or the other. I couldn't get both. And when I have Asta, who's a pretty high-energy girl, she definitely needs a little extra space because there are times when I can't get outside to work her for whatever reason, and so we'll do stuff inside, which is good. So it still wears her out. So thank you for your questions, you guys. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below the video. You can also put them in our Facebook page, and I will add them to the list of questions that we have, and I will choose 3 questions next month. We'll sit down and we'll have another campfire chat. I hope everything is going well for you, and if you're out there camping, I hope you're having a good time. If you're thinking about camping, I hope you get out there and do it. Everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching.